Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Hope Hooton, the host of Voices Against Filicide. Thank you for listening and for being a part of this mission. Together, we are raising awareness, educating, sharing resources, and keeping the voices of these children alive. Every time you listen, you share, or leave a review, you are helping us reach more people and make a difference. If you'd like another way to support, we have a Voices Against Filicide merchandise shop, where shirts, hats, mugs, bags, and so much more. Wearing or using these items help spread the awareness of filicide and help keep Alec and Lydia's story and all the other stories of children alive. This builds community and the dedication for change. You can find the merchandise at voicesagainstfilicide.odoo.com or through the link in the show notes. Thank you for standing with me as we speak truth, honor their lives, and fight for change. Trigger warning. The following podcast contains content that may be deeply disturbing. You will hear first-hand accounts from parents and family members who have lost children to filicide, the murder of a child by a parent or caregiver. These stories are raw, emotional, and shared from the perspective of those who have lived them. They include details of unimaginable loss, system failures, and trauma. Please take care while listening. If at any point you need to pause, stop, or step away, we understand. Welcome to Voices Against Filicide. I'm your host, Hope Hooton, a mother who has walked this journey and an advocate, turning my pain into purpose. This podcast sheds light on filicide cases, statistics, who these children were, and the advocacy work being done in their honor, and so much more. Together, we speak truth, honor their lives, and fight for change. Before we go any further, I want to take a moment to honor two of the brightest lights I've ever known. My children, Alec and Lydia. Alec with his love of Pokemon and his kind heart, and Lydia with her joyful personality and love of unicorns. They were more than my whole world. They were joy in human form. Their laughter, their hugs, their imaginations, all of it lives on in me, and in this podcast, and in the work I do every single day to protect children and raise awareness. This podcast is for them. It's for every child whose voice was silenced too soon. Alec and Lydia, you are my why, and I will never stop fighting in your name. Thank you for joining me today, and let's get right into today's episode. What is a better place to begin than at the beginning? Let's begin with the question at the heart of this podcast. What is filicide? Filicide is the act of a parent killing their own child. It's a word that many people have never heard of before, until it happens to them or someone they know. I know I had no idea what filicide was until I experienced it head on. No parent should ever have to learn that word this way. We need to talk about filicide. We need to understand what it is and use it in everyday language, just like we use the word suicide. It's not a new problem or something that just started. It's been around a long time. It crosses all lines: race, class, religion, education level. It happens in big cities and in small towns. It happens in places that you would least imagine. Filicide can take many forms. Some parents act out of revenge. Some in the grip of untreated mental illness. And some as a last act in a custody battle. But behind every filicide is a child. Innocent, trusting, deserving of life, whose voice was stolen and silenced too soon. It's those voices we lift up in this podcast. To help you understand, I want to talk to you about some of the recent cases within the last year. In Florida, in 2024, a mother forced her daughters to drink bleach. She called it her special milk, then strangled her 3-year-old daughter when it didn't work. In 2025, in Victoria, Australia, a 2-year-old little girl was killed and hidden in her ceiling of her home. Yes, you heard that correctly. She was killed and then hidden in her ceiling of her home. Despite years of abuse and warnings, Child Protection closed the case just days before her death. In Georgia, a father shot and killed his 6-year-old daughter during a custody exchange. Court documents showed prior threats of violence, but visitation was still ordered. And this past May 2025, in the U.S. in Washington, a father, a 32-year-old veteran of the military, committed filicide during a scheduled custody visitation on May 30th, 2025, taking his 3 young daughters' lives, Peyton 9, Evelyn 8, and Olivia 5, and never returning them to their mother's home. When I heard about this, it broke my heart, because I know what it's exactly like to send your kids on a visitation and never see them alive again. These are only a handful. The list goes on and on. In future episodes, we will be diving into each of these cases and many more to learn about these precious children and the lives lost and what was missed. Now I want to talk to you about actual numbers, statistics. Filicide is very hard to track. There is no government agency like the FBI or other entity that tracks actual statistics on filicide in the United States on a regular basis. But they do track it per year. Around 500 children are killed by a parent each year via filicide. That's more than 1 every day. 70% of children are under the age of 5. Fathers are more likely to commit fatal violence, but mothers account for 40% of cases. And in high conflict custody situations, filicide risk is 4 to 6 times higher than in normal situations. In Australia, these cases only see about 20 filicide cases a year. Most of them have previous reports of domestic violence or child abuse. 20 compared to over 500 in the United States. America, we need to wake up and do something different. In South Africa and parts of Asia, they report some of the highest rates, often linked to poverty, stigma, and violence. And in Africa, recent studies show filicide accounts for up to 3.7% of all homicides. I want you to understand that globally, most filicide perpetrators had previous contact with the courts, law enforcement, or mental health professionals, but red flags and warning signs were dismissed. Often, the perpetrators of this filicide also commit suicide. So you're probably asking, why aren't we protecting children? Because the system meant to protect children is failing. It is a broken system that needs complete repair and an upheaval to change its current situation. Family courts, CPS, law enforcement, and mental health services are often misinformed or dangerously dismissive on specific cases. I know this from a personal experience. In my case, they ignored every single red flag and warning sign. Filicide is preventable. We just need to pay attention and look for the warning signs and actually do something about it. Family court may order visitation even when credible abuse allegations exist. Mental health crises in a parent often go untreated or are not monitored properly by a psychiatric physician. Protective parents, especially mothers, are labeled as alienators when they try to speak up. Did you know that when a mother tries to speak up and share that something is wrong, that she's often the one that the judge dismisses? She can often go to jail, she can be fined, and she can be disrespected and misunderstood in the court system. Child protection workers miss or minimize serious documented threats every single day. It's your job. You need to stand up and not just push paper through the system, but actually take these cases seriously. I know this from not only personal experience from my own case, but also from a teacher's perspective. I was a teacher in the classroom for 10 years. I was a mandated reporter. Because of this, anytime I suspected neglect or abuse of any kind of one of my children in my classroom over the years, I had to automatically call CPS. Sometimes I would call and they would call me back and we would talk for 5 minutes and then they would dismiss the case. Other times they would call me back, they would go out to the family's home, look around, and still dismiss the case. This isn't something that we have to push through the system super quickly. We need to look at these cases and make sure that these children are actually safe in their environments. It's your job. Too often, these failures are sealed in closed records, behind courtroom doors, and left out of the public eye until it's too late. That's why I'm here, to shed a light on this, to make sure that we continue to talk about these children lost to filicide, spread awareness, so that this does not keep happening. Like I said, this is preventable. In my experience, I've seen firsthand all of these failures in real time, and these failures cost Alec and Lydia their lives. This podcast aims to change that. Now is the call to action and some resources. You might be asking, what can I do? That's a valid question. Share this podcast. Share these stories. Silence kills, but awareness saves lives. I want to talk about the Rowan Project on Facebook. They help parents fighting high conflict custody battles and offer critical resources. So if you're going through a custody battle that's high conflict or need help in any way, reach out to the Rowan Project on Facebook. They will be able to help you. Educate your community. Educate, educate, educate. That's why I'm here, to give the tools that we need to speak out and stand up so this stops happening. Share it with your school, with your coworkers, with your family, with your friends, with strangers on the street. We need to keep this voice going so that we can make sure that filicide stops. Advocate for family court reform. Demand accountability and informed policies. Did you know that family court hearings are public? You can go on the docket on your state's website and look up family court hearings and go and sit in them. This will help to make sure the judges are accountable for what they are saying and ordering in these cases. Speak up. If you suspect a child is in danger, do something immediately. Call 911, call CPS, or call 988 for resources. The more we shine a light on this issue, the fewer children we lose to filicide. Thank you for joining me on Voices Against Filicide. If this episode moved you, please share it, because every story shared is a step toward awareness and another life saved. To learn more or support our mission, or share your own story of filicide and how it's impacted your life, visit voicesagainstfilicide.odoo.com and follow me on social media at Hope in the Pain. From me, your host, Hope Hooton, thank you. Until next time, remember, be kind and always abound in hope. On the next episode of Voices Against Filicide, I will be sharing my personal story of filicide, which happened to my own children, Alec and Lydia. We will be diving deeper into who Alec and Lydia were, what happened in their case, and what I'm doing now to advocate in their memory. Please join me next time on Voices Against Filicide.